Welcome to Real Lives Touched by Addiction with your hosts, Jen McCutcheon, Luke Loughlin, Lainne Love, and Sandra Marie. This 6-part series exists to bring truth, compassion, and real solutions to conversations around addiction that families, communities, and systems have avoided for far too long. Addiction isn't just an individual struggle. It's a family, community, and generational issue, and too many people are navigating it in silence, feeling overwhelmed and alone. Through real stories, lived experience, trauma-informed insight, and evidence-based framework, we're exploring the most misunderstood truths about addiction and family healing. And you're invited to join us. Listen, reflect, and take small but powerful steps towards real healing and change. So, let us begin. All right, here we go. Episode 5 out of the 6-part series. We are back here to continue the conversation. And today we are talking about why me? That ultimate question that each and every one of us on this panel, and I'm sure you as the listener, have asked yourself, why me? And we're going to dive into that today and look at the other side to reframe why not me and what the difference is between them. So, thinking about my journey with the why me's, honestly, it's a universal question. I don't think that there is anybody that hasn't at some point in their life gone through something and asked why, right? Like, why is this happening to me? Mm-hmm. And I think it's part of just our human experience. And I think that's part of the conversation here is to just kind of normalize it, that it's something we all have experienced at some point, some of us maybe a lot more than others, but it's a moment, I think, where the question itself, I know for myself, it was like, for a long time, that was like, why me, from that victim? Like, why me? Why is this friggin' happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Right? I must have done something really wrong. So it's like that punishment piece, or like that feeling like everything's just so unfair. Like life is so unfair. And one of the things that kind of I learned, I remember like the moment that it happened was, it was a moment where I recognized the why me was really, it was a deeper longing within me to understand. It turned, something changed, and it was not why me, like, why is this happening to me, but more like, why me? Like this this curious, like, why me? And it was a subtle little switch, but it actually changed the question from a place of feeling disempowered, victim, to everything was against me, right? The whole world, everything was against me, to why me? Like, what is this? Like, and it started to change. Like, what is this showing me? What about me? And it actually was the moment where I recognized I was part of the problem. I was creating my own suffering. It was like, wait a minute, I'm the common denominator in all of my suffering. It was that turning point for me. It was a pivotal moment where I'd been hurting so much, stuck in the cycle of, I'm victim to, everybody's doing this to me. I must be bad. Somebody must be punishing me. God, it was all that, to all of a sudden going, holy shit. I'm the common denominator. I'm the one that's in all of these experiences. It's actually not about them. It's like, why me? What is this supposed, like, why? So it was, I don't know. Does that resonate with you guys? Because
yeah.
It was, and it changed the trajectory. That moment sitting on my couch changed the moment. It's like changed my trajectory of my life, to switching from victim to curious about what I was doing to contribute to the challenges that I was facing. It was no longer everybody else was against me. It was like, I've been against myself, and what do I need to do differently? What is this showing me?
Yes. I feel you to the core, because by the time my son was in his addiction, I had already been through the why me with my divorce. Like, why me? Like, what that? Mm, 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 mm. And the whole victim, it's like, well, I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to be a warrior. So my journey started back then. and why did this happen? And really seeing my journey here on earth. Why are these things happening? And I believe we're all on a journey. So by the time my son was in his addiction, I again went through the why me, and especially with social media and seeing your friends and their kids at the same age, graduating and doing all these wonderful things. It was really hard to, ugh, this is what I'm in. I'm in chaos. I'm in this life and death situation with my son daily. And once I stopped and realized this was my reality and actually thought, okay, why not me? Why is this happening? And finding a purpose behind it. And so it was no longer, I find that with saying why me, it's like there's that blame, like you said, what did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this? Well, when I look within myself, I know I'm a good person because I know I wouldn't hurt anybody intentionally. And if I did hurt somebody, I hope they would come to me. So it's like, okay, you know what? I've done good things. I don't deserve this. So there's a reason this is happening. And, the spiritual part of my journey is I also believe that my children picked me as their mom for a reason, right? So once I changed the why me and like, okay, this is what it is. What am I going to do with it? As we've mentioned, it's not what happens to us, it's what we do with it. And so for me, because of everything I was going through, I learned so much through my son. I learned how to be a better human. I learned how to be more empathetic of others. I learned not to judge what you see in front of you because you don't know what's behind all that. And, when I take it and change my perspective of it, it changes everything. And so I learned that this was my journey. I'm doing this because I need to speak up. I'm doing this so that I could support my son the best way I can. Uh, and this is his journey. So there's my journey and then there's his journey. And his journey was to have these struggles. And it totally sucked. It really was horrible. But when we looked at it, and I would have these conversations with my son, because I'd say, buddy, you are at a higher level than any of us because you chose to come to this life to struggle. And so when I look at things at a spiritual level, it is easier to swallow what happened. It's easier to accept, I lost my son to addiction. So I don't ask, and I just wrote this down, I don't ask why me anymore. I ask, what can I do with what I have lived? As for me, that's telling the truth because where there is breath, there is hope. So for me, it's this happened. We don't have to like it, but it's what we do with it. When I stopped asking why me and looking at the purpose behind it, it just gave me a different perspective and it was easier to accept. And so I'm going to speak my experience, and honor my son because of him. Oh my gosh, I am who I am today, and I love me because I love that I could see somebody that may be struggling that at one time I may have been fearful or I may have thought, well, you put yourself in that position. I have more empathy, more understanding as to what is happening in front of me. And so, why not me? That's
Yeah.
my little why me. It's hard to get out of. It is. It's taking those steps and progress, not perfection. I'm still learning. I'm still accepting, and grieving and all that stuff that comes with loss. But I believe for me, it fills me up when I'm able to share my experience and help someone else that's asking those same questions. Why me? Because there are so many people out there. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel you. Like, I mean, I love that you brought up this spiritual perspective or this spiritual background because for me it was the same. I mean, there was this I mean, my world, my first husband struggled with mental health and addiction. That was such a difficult and challenging time with two babies under the age of two. My whole world turned upside down
Mm,
and slowly like crawled out of the deep dark hole of
Mm,
it,
mm,
rebuilt my life, was working three jobs, taking care of my kids, remarried into another marriage that was impacted by mental health and addiction and the struggle that went through that. And at the time when my son began his journey at age 15, it was like my husband was in active alcoholism, high functioning, but like very, very difficult. My son's journey was the thing that cracked me open. But the two of them together, again, that
mm,
moment, it's like, why me? Not just once, twice, but three times, like three times. That was like, again, it's like, I'm the common denominator. So it's like
mm,
there's
mm,
so many of us that we don't have to experience hardship and pain to awaken, but most of us do. This is what I believe is part of it is that spiritual, because if I could just look at it from my human form, I'm missing so much more of the picture. I'm only able to see it from this human like finite form perspective. But when I started to look at it from the bigger perspective, and I had to go through so much pain and hardship because I was stubborn. I had this ego. But this was part of not even like now blaming or shaming my ego, but it was just again, we talked about patterns. And we talked about the family cycles and the family patterns and the trauma responses and the conditioning and the programming. And the ego really is this part of me that was created as a form of protection of myself, of
mm,
finding that acceptance and love. And it's like it works until it doesn't work, but it doesn't. And there's this moment in time where it cracked me open. It was like Michael Bernard Beckwith says, pain pushes until vision pulls.
mm,
And it was like I had to friggin' continue the cycles of addiction and mental health with my loved ones for it to awaken me to see my role in it, to see my pain in it, to see where I had been living from a false identity, a false version of who I was. And it wasn't a bad version. There was nothing wrong with the version. It just no longer fit. It just was like it's not working for me anymore. And I feel like that's the awakening. That's the spiritual reawakening. It's like the remembering of who I am and starting to shed the layers of who I am not, what my parents told me I was or should be, what society told me I was or should be. Um, as a mother, what I'm supposed to be. And I kept trying to hold myself to all these standards and value systems that actually weren't me, but I didn't know they weren't me because I was stuck in this pattern, in this cycle. So it's like the awakening of having to go through, addiction was my catalyst. It is my catalyst. I believe that addiction, my loving loved ones in addiction, was my soul choosing to be in those relationships. I magnetized them to me. I chose to be in those relationships to help me awaken to remember who I really truly am, which is my true identity, which is my most authentic being. And I haven't arrived there. It's a lifelong journey of
mm,
continuing to remember because I still have patterns, I still have blind spots I don't see within myself. It's just this becoming and it's letting go of the version of me that served me for a period of time,
mhm,
um, and now it just no longer serves me. And it continues to, come with triggers and those experiences that have me questioning why, like why me?
mm.
And then it's like, oh, why not me? Right? Digging deeper and digging deeper.
yeah.
Luke, you got a big smile on your face.
No, it's like listening to everybody like talk about this. You can just see I'm like listening to both Sandra and you, Jen, of like trying to picture that place where you guys were in that place of like being trapped in that, like of like fuck why me? Like I know my famous words were like the world's always fucking me, like excuse my language, like I'm always getting screwed and And I believe that like that why me mentality and even the words, like how powerful the words are. Cause then like
Mhm.
subconsciously, I'm constantly feeling like I got the worst luck in the world. And like anything that happens around me and to me negative is like I just got bad luck. Like it said, there's no thought process of like maybe I'm living my life a certain way here that's like gravitating to this stuff. But I would get stuck in this like self-pity of like poor me. Every time I would say that, like those words would be in, and I would be in this like energy of like the world's always working against me, where like I know the world's like the universe is like working like for me. Like and it's all like where am I
Mhm.
aligned like in my life? And I think one of the biggest things that I heard was somebody say a long time ago, changing, the why me attitude to the why not me. Like you're built for this. Like you have, and we bring the spiritual factor into this, whether it's the universe, like God, whatever your belief is like these times in my life when things were happening and I thought they were happening to me and I was going with the why me, it's because I was in the wrong place that God had planned for me. My mission wasn't being carried out. And like I started challenging these thoughts of when things would happen in life. And because I still today, like my first knee jerk reaction wants to go like why is this happening right now? Right. Like, and I gotta like process that and then get back to this. But like challenging that thought of like the why me, the poor me to, why not me? Or like, why not me to break this cycle? Why not me to do the work where I can overcome this? Like I believe like God takes messes and turns them into messages. And all those like why me, why is this happening to me? Up until this day when I look into the rear view mirror, were all parts of life that were happening that, perseverance and to continue to keep going and seeing how we can work through this and how we can make a change have all been these big lessons in my life, which now I have gotten to share with somebody who's struggling in some sort of the same way. It might not be identical, but the principles of this can be a solution. And then you think back to that, when you have somebody come up to you and say, "Hey, like I really appreciate you saying that. Like I've been struggling with this and
Mm.
I needed to hear that you look back and you're like those situations in life, why me? Well, that's why you like there's power to gain into overcoming things where you can be a vessel to help other people. And I find the biggest thing is like when I come through these challenges, even today, is like where can I find inspiration? Who can I talk to and run things by? And whether it's prayer, meditation in my sense, but throwing it by other people I know that are trying to grow and trying to live like this life and make changes, to find that inspiration of how I can go into that place of like why not me, I'm built for this again. And it really is, for me, it's been a big attitude change, like it's
Mhm.
and perspective change, because I see how much it kept me stuck in not making any sort of step. I can just write it off with, I'm just always getting screwed out here, like that's just those are the cards I'm dealt, and that's it, which it's not true. And when I look, Jen, you talked about it. When I got into recovery and started really like doing some work and going through my past leading up to, when I got into recovery and looking at the way my behaviors were, it's so true. Like things would be happening in life that I would be all upset about. Like, why is this happening to me? But the way I was living my life, like I was setting the ball rolling for these things to eventually start happening to me. And just same with like resentments that I would get. I would like poke the bear with somebody else, and they would react, and I'd be like, "What a dick!" Like just like so angry with the person, like how could you treat me like that? Like I'm always getting treated like this, but like when you look inside and look back at how I'm living in certain areas of my life, it's like, yeah, no, that person just had a reaction because you've been poking them so many times. Like, it's not that you're getting the crap end of the stick and things are always happening to you, right?
Cause and effect, baby. Cause
Yeah,
and
right. And
effect.
and I think like practicing like gratitude and like actively looking for things in my life today that I can be grateful for that stemmed from one of those situations of not going into the why me anymore, but the why not me. I'm built for this. Like I know God's got a plan here. I know he's going to carry me through. I just got to bring my shovel and those mountains will get moved with the faith, but there's work to do, right? There's work to do. Try something differently. And I believe this concept and this attitude is something that can keep me so stuck in life. And like I said, it still pops up. But I'm reminded over experience and practice that no, I've gone through this before. Big things have happened in my life and I've persevered through it. And other people have too. So why can't I? And that's just kind of my transition and my experience on this. I love this topic. I really do, because there's so many people.
Mm,
If they can hear more people talk about the experience on this, it could maybe unlock and get them taking little baby steps to get into a better place.
Love
amen.
it. Yeah.
That this
Thanks.
is a good topic, and I loved listening to everybody because I think it's something that every person struggles with. There's a lot there to unpack in those like few words. Why me? Because there are so many different layers to it, and different context to the why me. There's the big one, the spiritual, which brings in the why not me and the why me, because we're more than we've been taught we are, and that brings in the societal message also to the why me. Isn't it interesting, like, just to contemplate that we even like allow or let ourselves get to that why me, like, because it's such a small way of living. But when we can zoom out and remember that we're not small, that we're like huge, expansive beings, and we've come here for a mission. And in that mission, we have to resolve a lot of things, and we resolve them through meeting challenges and challenging ourselves and digging deeper within our well to be more than we thought we could be, or to make something right. That's that karma. And I think of Joan of Arc when I think of that. Like, who wanted that mission? Like, dude, 17, leading an army, a successful army, and then betrayed by the person that she served and burnt at the stake. And all the while knowing, because she had the deep connection with God, what her mission was. I'm sure that she second guessed, knowing at every step, like, I don't want to, but wait, I don't want to. And yet she met herself at every point, and she lived into her mission, she fulfilled her mission, and her life became this like immeasurable thing, this thing that we still point backwards towards as this like beautiful example of resiliency, of courage, of strength. So the why hers, her message is still giving. What she lived through is still giving, and that's often what comes through the why me is something so much bigger. If we can meet it, if we can stand in the river of truth and say, like, no, no, you move, as Captain America, the comic would say. But that means, so it's so meaningful to me. I love comic books. I love the movies. I love the the concepts. I love the way that they deliver the message of the story. So that's the big context of why me. I think that we need to connect to that more.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's still the human part of me, the why me, because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to always live in the spirit part, because I am a human day to day, trying to move through this relationship, trying to overcome this habit or addiction or a circumstance or whatever that is. And it can feel like really, really heavy. And that's where like the invitation or the challenge also becomes to connect to the deeper, at least try for it. At least try for the, well, am I just this person? Is there more to me than just like this one moment? And what are the possibilities here? Like, what is this doing for me? It's really hard to see all the time, but it's worth even asking the question. And then in the human part, then we're also bringing in comparison when we say, why me? Because it's not happened to them. It's not
Yeah.
happened to them.
Right?
All these people around me. And it's okay. That's so human.
Yeah.
It's so human. I do it. But then I always bring in the other end of the why me, because I can go to the tap and turn on water. Well, why me? Because I know that there's millions of people, hundreds of millions, if not more, that cannot go to a tap and turn on water. So I
Yeah.
also always, that is a habit too. Yes, I can acknowledge that I feel like I'm having a really hard time and I'm struggling, because I am. I am in relation to my own life. I am in relation to my own societal standards, and I can still acknowledge that in lots of ways it's not that bad, the why
Mhm.
me. And then going back to what you said, Luke, it's like, well, so yeah, how have like, what choices have I made to contribute to the why me? Going back out again to, have I been listening to myself? Have I been listening to the guidance that I have been receiving, to that small little voice that kept saying, no, don't do that, or stop, or turn right here, like, because I was being guided and I wasn't listening. And there's a consequence to every choice that we make, every choice that I make, a good one, or one that I would find more pleasurable, and one that I would find more uncomfortable, because each is the result of a choice that I'm making, and each is teaching me something, right? So there are so many layers to the why me. And I think if all you can do is even just acknowledge that there's multiple layers, that in itself can create a little bit of a change for you. I mean, I still get stuck sometimes in why me, because it just feels sometimes like I'm getting hammered all the time. And, that's part of my mission. It's hard to remember. I came here to whatever it is I came here to do. Sometimes I feel like I know, and sometimes I feel like I don't know, but I came here to be a punching bag, right? But whatever that is, like, I did come here with the mission, and I do recognize
Mhm.
that the big challenges, the ones that like really feel like they're tearing at my soul and ripping open my heart, and like having me crawl on the ground to find something within me to get myself out of this pit. Every time I do that, I fucking amaze myself. Like,
Mhm.
I become something. And even if, like, I could become kinder, which isn't one of the things that I thought I wanted to become. It's like I want to become more abundant or more powerful, but I become like more of a person that, wow, I'm liking myself more,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm getting to know more of like what I'm built of, because I'm stripping away the things that have like blurred my vision or blinded me, because I know we say becoming who we're meant to be, but we are that already. We don't have to like become more. You already are all of that. It's healing the layers, and it's allowing yourself to show that light and that strength that you already are. And I don't know why we choose the version or the means of like pain and suffering. I guess that comes to resilience, and maybe that's part of what it means to be a human being, is that we build through resilience, and it is really uncomfortable. And I guess part of it has to be, and then the other part of it, maybe it doesn't have to be as uncomfortable. So that's just my invitation, is just sure, ask yourself why me. It's okay, you're allowed to, because sometimes that feels like right and good. And yeah, why the hell me? And it's okay, and you're not wrong for that. It's just don't get stuck there and look at the other layers and the other possibilities of the why you. Because why not you?
Why not?
Yeah.
It's beautifully said, Lainey, and I just want to add that for me, I believe that things happen for a reason, and sometimes it really does suck, and it's uncomfortable, and it hurts. But when I look back at all my experiences of all the challenges, I became a better person because of it. I believe that if I didn't go through those struggles and challenges, that I wouldn't be as good of a human. I believe that's where my growth came from. That's where my character comes from. So for me, when I look at what's the reason for this to happen and getting the lessons and learning so that it doesn't get repeated, because I also believe if we don't get that lesson the first time, it's going to come back with a vengeance until we get it. So I'm not going to learn the hard way. I'm going to learn it the first time, which doesn't always happen because sometimes I need another shot in the head to say, Sandra, come on, you're not getting the full picture. So for me, it's all that the perspective of what is happening. Because it's so easy to become that victim, that victim, like, damn, why me? It's always me. I'm the victim. And it's changing that narrative. So it's like, okay, this happened. It sucks. Why not me? And people are in worse situations, like you said, like people that don't have water coming out of their taps. There's so many other things that I could be in. So it's all those life lessons that I received from those challenging times. It sucks. We don't have to like it, but for me, it's being that warrior and getting something from it and having the gratitude. And I always say I can see the perfection in it. Seeing the perfection in that crappy, shitty thing that happened. It doesn't mean it's okay, but there is a reason. And I learned that back when I went through the divorce. It's like, oh, I see the perfection in it now, as much as it hurt at the time. Losing my son sucks. And, I will continue to grieve, but I will continue to hold him in my heart. But I could also see the why and the divinity behind it. And that is a whole nother topic that I can get really deep into to explain. But it's seeing the why not and what am I going to learn from it and how will I become a better person because of all those struggles and challenges.
Hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, so beautiful. I think, just to wrap up everything that everybody said here is this is part of the process. This why not and looking at why not me. It's like
Mm,
part of the process of remembering, like Lainey said, we're not really not becoming anything. We're everything within us. Everything is already within us. All of the stuff is already within us, but it's just in the remembering. And the questioning is you seeking a deeper meaning, a deeper understanding of why you're here and what your mission is here. You have a bigger mission, each and every one of us, and all that we're experiencing is guiding us towards that bigger purpose and calling. And that's our final episode, which we're going to be bringing to you, is purpose and calling, which is part of the why me and why not me. So thank you for joining us and sending you all so much love and light. And we will see you in our next episode. Bye for now.
bye. Thank
Hey
you.
guys.
If this episode moved something within you, please subscribe and leave a rating or review. It helps these conversations reach the hearts of those that need them most. And we also want to invite you to come and connect with us. Our social links are in the show notes. Follow us, come say hi, and share your story. We truly want to hear from you because your story carries wisdom, your voice carries medicine, and your purpose is already unfolding. Until next time, remember, you are not alone. We heal, rise, and recover better together.